Welcome to the big fella and little fella cricket show. I'm the big fella Michael Oakes, and to my left is the little fella Zach Peddersen. Zach, how are you today, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. Well, it's good to be on camera. As many of you, our loyal listeners, will know, we were a podcast last season, but we've been told we've got faces camera now, and whether that.
Well, I do. Can't say the same for you,
He
mate.
did get a haircut this morning, so
It's a good haircut,
just plug in that. Look, for those of you not aware of our show, we talk a bit of shit about cricket. Effectively, we do have a pathway focus, though, so we're really interested in highlighting the stars of the future and giving them a bit of a plug, as well as a bit of banter about the blokes going around today. We'll start, mate. There's plenty going on with cricket at the moment. It's warm weather outside. The sun's shining. Well, I think it is anyway. It's T20s have started. We're getting a bit of hype. There's plenty of domestic action going on.
Yep, lots of cricket.
I mean, we'll start with the Oz T20s. Australia won the series last night.
Yeah, very dominant start from the Aussie boys.
There were a couple of blokes that missed out though, and I want to sort of highlight those blokes because it's obviously we've got the T20 World Cup next year, so team selection is. I mean, they're picking teams now that they envisage being around October next year. So, in particular, Chris Lynn and Darcy Short's the one that baffles me. What does it mean for those blokes?
I think you look at the selection there, and it's great to see Steve Smith and Dave Warner and Pat Cummins and all the big guns back. And I look at someone like a Chris Lynn, who's supposedly a white ball specialist, and he hasn't really played any cricket recently. Like, where's he played? He's missed out on the Marsh Cup.
Canada, I believe.
And exactly right. He's playing in Canada. So there's no real form to go off, and it's really hard to pick someone like that when you've got the big guns in front of him. I mean, the one person I would say you could make an argument for is Ashton Turner.
Well, they both got bung shoulders.
They can't field.
Yep.
But obviously Ashton's shown us, especially over in India a while ago, what he can do and how damaging he can be. So you question whether or not, where does Chris Lynn fit in, especially with the BBL. You know, he bats top order and so does Darcy Short. Now, Aaron Finch isn't going anywhere, Dave Warner isn't going anywhere, and Steve Smith bats 3. And obviously Glenn Maxwell's on fire at the moment. So where does he fit in? I don't see how they get in this side anytime soon.
I mean, it's a good problem to have if the team are firing. I mean, the Short one he's young. You think about teams of the future. He was one that baffled me a little bit, but look, they've just won a series against Sri Lanka, albeit a pretty subpar Sri Lankan team. I'm just going to say it. A terrible viewing to start the summer off. Point is, Dave Warner makes 100 and then makes 60 last night. Does it mean anything?
I think runs are runs, and you can only play against who you're playing against. So
I've seen grade cricket teams play better than the Sri Lankans are dishing up at the moment.
I agree, mate. It is a poor Sri Lankan side, and it is disappointing from a viewer. You don't want to see. I don't want to see Australia dominate against poor sides. You want to see a really good contest, and you also want to see the Aussies get on top eventually. They're better. You don't want to see these smashings like we've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's facing Nuwan Pradeep, who bowls 125, 130, and ageing Lasith Malinga, who looks a bit heavy.
Mate, he looks bigger than me, and I am the big fella.
That's right, and that's probably a fair comment
I'm
too.
thinking about rolling the arm over, mate.
You might as well.
Growing the hair a bit longer, tipping it, rolling the arm over.
Sandakan is a second-rate spinner. He's not a top liner. And there's no Chaminda Vas anymore. There's no Murali Doran. There's no Ranga Harath. There's none of these stars that Sri Lanka have actually had in recent times. So I'm really concerned about what they've got. I mean, Kisan Rajitha, none for 75 or 4 overs.
Yeah, it wasn't
Mate,
flash.
We should have been out there rolling the arm over.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Couple of, I guess, sort of sad parts. Andrew Ty pinged his elbow shoulder at training. He's probably going to have a bit of surgery, and it looks like he might miss a large part of the summer. He just got back into some fantastic form coming out of the Marsh Cup.
Yeah.
So we know AJ very well, and it was, shitty news. Not much else you can say about that. My thing is, it opens up the door for a couple of players, which you can talk about. But last time he did his shoulder, he did it over in playing IPL. I think it was only his 3rd or 4th IPL game. Breakout season. Does his shoulder, has an operation, comes back in career best form, ends up playing for Australia, getting a record IPL contract, and his career really kickstarts. So one thing we know about AJ is he can recover well. He's done it before, so I think he's going to get back in time for the World Cup. But it did open the door for a couple of boys.
Yeah, it's disappointing for AJ, obviously. I mean, he is someone who brings something else to the attack with his variations. I think a lot of the big quicks are very one-dimensional to an extent, and that's what I like about AJ. He brings something different with his variations and he changes the pace. Kane Richardson now has a great opportunity to take that extra spot. So does Billy Stanley. But Billy big and tall, and he is quite quick. But is he any different to what we've already got? I don't know. So there's this opportunity there, and obviously Sean Abbott has been going really well as well. So those three blokes and me are fighting out for that spot that AJ has probably now left. But I'm really disappointed that we don't get to see someone like AJ in the mix over the next few months.
Now the real controversy, mate, of the start of summer. Mitch Stark, brother's wedding, played for his country.
Yeah, I mean, mate, I reckon I could not tell you how many times I've heard stories of blokes missing out on weddings and their own, even probably their own, have moved them in summer. I mean, come on, you're Mitch Stark's brother. Surely you don't plan your wedding in summer, surely. But look, I guess you have to go, don't you? You can't miss it.
Mitch is not an automatic selection.
No.
He doesn't go on the Cummins board and the Smith board and the Warner board and the Finch board. He doesn't get on that anymore. And we've seen that throughout the English summer. I still think he's an absolute gun of a player, and I think he's going to be at the World Cup, which is the aim for him. But, I mean, yeah.
Just bad timing, isn't it? It really is, and especially when he wants to just probably be playing as much cricket in front of it, I guess, the right people. And obviously with all the hype around from the media, you want to be playing as much as you can and putting yourself up there for these, I guess, the next lot of T20s and then the Test season. I know the T20 and Test are completely different, but if you're pulling well at the top level, you're pulling well at the top level. So I think that it's a really bad time for Mitch to miss out on an opportunity, but it's his brother's wedding.
It is what it is. So let's move into these T20s are going to roll into Tests. The Test series is going to be against Pakistan. There is an Australia A trial game, a selection game, whatever you want to call it, coming up. There's a couple of noticeable non-selections, I should say, in there. Mate, take us through them.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first one's it's not so much a non-selection. I mean, I know Curtis Patterson is injured, but he'd be really disappointed that he didn't get up for this. He was close. He missed out on Shield selection as well. The Blues have got to go starting tomorrow. So he's missed out on both of those, which is disappointing for him.
Especially after, what he did against Sri Lanka at the tail end of summer last year.
Exactly right.
This year.
We haven't picked Cam Bancroft. He's missed out completely. Which
doesn't deserve it, though. I'm a Bancroft fan. Doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, look, and I agree. But he's played the first two tests over in the UK, and he's since lost his place, and now hasn't even made the Australian A side. So it's a big blow for him. I know he's going to fight his way back in if he can. But especially with, Warner has had a terrible Ashes, and I know it's different over there. Harris and Joe Burns are obviously having a bit of a battle for that other spot.
Yeah.
There's no reason why Cam Bancroft couldn't have been in that conversation, and he'd be really disappointed that he's not. In terms of the bowlers, Chris Tremaine, is he a big ambition? He was close a few years ago. He's not there anymore. They've gone with Joel Richardson.
He's sort of that Jackson Bird thereabouts sort of bowler. We'll bring him on a tour and we won't bowl him for a while. And probably their growth as a cricketer suffers because you get large periods of time where you don't actually get a chance to do anything except a bit of net bowling. Yeah,
and the big one here for me is the fact they haven't picked a spinner. And I think there's a lot more to this than just the fact of where the game's being played. Who is our number two spinner?
Yeah, after the great G Lion, who's coming in?
It's a great question, and then obviously we've gone with John Holland in the past. If you look at the Shield cricket season, I think two spinners have played all the Shield games so far, and they're not. Ashton Agar isn't going to be playing.
No,
is he? I mean, there's not anyone that's standing up there. And I think the other one's Tom Andrews, who is I guess a younger South Australian player, but he's probably not at that level yet either. So it's a real concern one. There's no spinner standing up here.
I either think you get a bit of personality back in the team, you bring in Steve O'Keefe. Or
that's a big call. Good call on personality though.
Or we scour the country for the next blonde bloke who can spin the ball, who can turn the ball slightly, and we'll call him the next Shane Warne. And you never know, he might end up captaining the country.
The one I want to say is Mitch Swepson, but today he's missed out. I know it's a white ball game, but he's been missing out with Matt Kuhneman, the left armour, who's a bit younger. So for me, if there is a young spinner in Australia, step up because now's the time.
Pakistan, look, mate, here's my thing. I actually think the team's picked already. I really do. I reckon there's one or two spots that may be up for grabs, and I don't know if the selectors are just saying it to create a bit of hype or a bit of spin or give players hope, but I reckon the team's picked. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced. I think there's a few spots up for grabs. As I said, Harris or Burns, and it's really good to see Joe Burns get an opportunity. I thought he was really unlucky not to be included in that Ashes squad.
I mean, for me, Harris all day. And I know his form was indifferent over in England, but you just got to think back to what he did last summer, mate. Absolutely on fire.
On the Aussie decks, yeah, that's a fair comment.
And this is a 6-test series in Australia on Australian decks, mate. He's got it all day. You know, Smith picks himself. Wade
will be there. He'll be 5 or 6.
If he's not, I mean, there'd be public outcry.
And it's then about probably who bats 3. Is it Kawaja? Do you go with Uzi again? Especially, I know over here he's quite good.
Australian decks, mate.
There's Travis Head, there's Will Pukowski, all getting the chance. I don't think Maddison's going to do any damage here in terms of. I guess
he started the season well,
and he definitely has, and that's probably what this selection is. That's probably my reward, in my opinion. I don't think he's going to break the top 6. And there's no all-rounders really stepping up, is there? After Mitch Marsh not being available now due to injury, I mean, there's no one really stepping up for that number 6 spot other than a batsman. So hopefully we see Will Pukowski in that side.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. You know, if you're gonna blood him as a 21-year-old, do it in Australia. A little bit friendlier atmosphere. He knows the system. He knows how it works. Rather than taking him overseas and throwing him in the wolves, get in, give him a chance to. You know, everyone fails a couple of times. Give him a chance to fail, chance to succeed. Bring him in Australia for an Australian summer. The Pakistani team. Now, a couple of changes from their test team and their T20 team. Their T20 team, we just flogged Sri Lanka, but Sri Lanka just won 3-0 in their competition.
Yes, over on their deck.
Yeah, in their series a couple of months ago. So it could be a horrible short form event, but their test team, mate. Some big changes coming in. The axe has been swung.
Yeah, so Misbah ul Haq, the former captain, he's now the chairman of selectors and coach. So that's a bit interesting one, I think. He swung the axe. A few kids have come in. So we're going to see Naseem Shah, who's a 16-year-old bowler, and then Musa Khan, who bowls 145 clicks at 19 years of age. So he's one I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Does he know where they're going?
Yeah, he does.
So he's pretty sharp.
He does. He's sharp. He hits the right areas. I think he's going to be one to really watch this summer, that's for sure.
Interesting.
Shaheen Shanafredi as well. He's played a little bit. We've seen a bit of him. It's been pretty good so far. What we won't see is Mohammad Hafiz. We won't see Sarfraz Ahmed. That's been announced a few months ago. He's been given the sack as captain. And Shoaib Malik. So some really big names from Pakistan we won't see.
It's just, for me, it's a big risk going to Australia in summer against a pretty settled Australian lineup with a couple of 19-year-olds and a 16-year-old. For me, it screams, yes, it's a rebuilded generation. But do we do that in cricket? Not from a wholesale perspective like that.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking about big fellas, Mohammad Irfan is an absolute monster of a human being.
He's the great Kali of Pakistani cricket.
He will tower over Billy Stanlake. So he's one I don't know how much he'll play, but he's one I really want to see over the summer as well, along with young Musa Khan. And obviously Mohammad Abbas, for me, he's one of the best in the world with the new ball, so he'll be quite damaging, I think.
Now, T20 standpoint, and I think the Aussies will be shaking a little bit with this name. Kadir.
How?
We saw him plucked out. Was it Canberra he's playing, somewhere over there?
Yeah, he's playing in Sydney Grade.
Yeah, Sydney Grade. We saw him plucked over to WA and Scorchers and a bit of one-day stuff. I don't think he played any Shield, did he?
No.
So we saw him. It didn't work out for him. He toddled over back to Pakistan. He's played in a domestic comp there, and bang, he's been picked to play for the Pakistanis.
Unbelievable.
Does he play?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you've got Yasir Shah for the red ball stuff, and you've got Shadab Khan for the white ball stuff. I think he's merely a backup.
Is he going to give them plenty of good intel on...
I wouldn't know. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if they...
Look, I'm giving him a whack all and a bit of jest. He is a good player, but whether he's someone the Australians are going to fear as opposition, I don't know. For me, probably not.
For me, I don't think his fielding's up to international standard.
Yeah.
He's not going to offer much with the bat either. And realistically, what the boys said, they've got better options. I mean, I get it. He knows the Australian conditions. I'm sure Dad would have been proud of him now that he's gone back to Pakistan, even though he did say the dream was to play for Australia not too long ago. So I do find that an interesting selection.
With that, let's go back to Marsh Cup. There's a couple of fixtures still going. They've broken the series up this year, which I was against, but I actually like now. There's been some surprises so far. Mate, has anyone thrown themselves up and said, pick me from an Australian standpoint?
I actually think Dan Hughes the New South Wales opener. He's 31. He's been around the scene for a long time at domestic level, but he's come out with 158, 112, and looked really consistent over this Marsh Cup. And he's just someone I think if there's a gap in our top order, he's one that could definitely fill a hole.
You might have to give Matty Wade a call and ask him how it's done. I think he might have to make a few more hundreds there. What about Aussie Marnus?
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't seen much of him, obviously, in the ODI format. So
I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah, and he just gives you a bit of everything, doesn't he? He can bat in the top order. His legs are more than handy, and he's a gun fielder.
Yeah.
And he's an absolute competitor, isn't he?
Yep.
So he's one I would like to see on the team this year.
And Shane Warne's new poster boy, Riley Meredith.
I mean, he's quick, isn't he?
He's good.
He's
Yeah,
seriously
very
quick. I think we'll see him this summer.
And you know once Warney circled him, it's on to higher honours.
Usually, you'd like to think so. I mean, look, obviously Nathan Ellis has gone really well.
Yeah, surprise, New South Welshman, gone down to Tassie, really toiled hard and come up and debuted for Tassie in their iconic now point chase game where they fell over. What they lose? 5 for 6 or
5 for 4.
5 for 4.
Chasing the bonus point.
Chasing the bonus point to the Vicks.
Unbelievable scenes.
So that was his debut game. But anyway, game 4 for him, playing against his former state, against all the big dogs.
On Drummoyne too, smaller ground.
On a suburban ground, which we said we weren't going to play on, but they had to. 5 for 38.
Yeah, unreal.
Just unbelievable.
Unreal.
On that note, mate, apart from Drummoyne, which they had to because SCG wasn't ready, has the move back to bigger stadiums, has it been a tick?
I think so. I think it's been really good. I mean, if you look at the scores and the way the game's been played, the better games and the more competitive games have been on the bigger grounds.
Yep.
The smaller grounds, the Junction, when Finch made 188, and I think the Vicks made, 1 for 300, or Queensland made 1 for 305, and they got chased down. Like, it's just not good enough. Like, it's not good viewing. I mean,
we got T20 for a reason, for
exactly
the fireworks
right.
and the explosive batting. Let's give the bowlers a shot.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's also more realistic for that next step up at the international stage, isn't it? I mean, bigger boundaries. They're playing on bigger grounds, and that's what they're going to play on at the next level. So it just makes sense. And we actually haven't had any uproar over the crowds.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big things that we used to cop was, big grounds, there's no one there. We haven't heard that this year. Yeah. So it's been really good, I think. I'm really happy they've made that decision. I know the players are happy.
No, I agree with you, mate. Agree with you. Now, we are a pathway orientated show, and we do like to highlight a couple of the young guns coming through. The second 11 cricket gets played. Let's face it, nobody really tracks it unless you're a cricket enthusiast. But to see the young, this is the place you go to see the young players coming through. And there's been 2 performances which, I mean, one does stand out from just a pure numbers point, but the other one's pretty impressive as well, mate. There's 2. Bryce Street and Liam Hatcher. Take us through.
Yeah, Bryce Street, 345, which is just a mammoth score. And from what I've heard, quite chanceless as well. And the last 150 came quite quickly. Admittedly, on a pretty quick ground with the road up there, but
been around a long time. He's not
he's just missed the consistency.
Is he 21, 22?
Yeah, it's his 3rd year as a rookie on the state list. I'm sure people are starting to know the name. He's just debuted in Shield cricket after this performance and got a 50, which was fantastic. And he's just debuted today as well in the Marsh Cup. So people are starting to know the name, but for years he's just made runs consistently. And he wasn't a flashy junior. He didn't play any Cricket Australia stuff. He wasn't someone who people were going, this kid's going to be the next big thing. He's just consistently made runs. So I cannot see someone making 345 in a future game anytime soon.
No, very true that. Now, one of my favourites, Liam Hatchman.
The Red-Head Alliance, mate.
Yeah, he's a red-headed boy, very fiery character, Hatch, and 21 wickets in 2 games. So 4 innings, 21 wickets. He would have told everyone on the field about it all.
Oh, they would have known. The boys would know.
Does like to chat a bit. Good performance. Problem is, New South Wales player. When you don't have Hazelwood, Stark, Cummings playing, you've got Copeland, who in any other country probably playing Test cricket.
Playing Test cricket for a long time, yeah.
Abbott. Who else?
Harry Conway, Mickey Edwards, Nathan Lyon, obviously. We haven't even mentioned him. So they've got a lot of options and a lot of good options too. But he is on fire. 5 for 5 for 6 for 5 for. Not a bad little stint there from Hatchman.
New South Wales, get him in. Now, mate, we've got the big red chair coming up, and I couldn't think of a better person to fill it as our young gun of the week. It's going to be Jono Merlo from the Melbourne Stars.
Yeah, can't wait. Great talent, great kid, and I can't wait to have a chat to him.
All right, we'll see him next. Mate, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks, Sophie.
Good to have you in on a beautiful afternoon. Mate, let's. You've had a good career so far, early career, but good career so far. Your second year of a state contract.
Yep.
Playing a lot of futures cricket still, obviously, with such a star-studded Victorian lineup. You a year down at the Stars. You got to debut in your first season, which was fantastic to see. How's the experience been so far?
Yeah. When you put it like that, it's a bit of a whirlwind.
It has happened quickly.
Yeah, you sort of don't really think about everything that's come along the way. But it's been a terrific experience so far. Being able to just be around Victoria, train with Victoria, learn off different blokes, coaches, Stars, exact same thing. And then you get introduced to the crowds as well with the Big Bash, which was an awesome experience, being able to get that first game in as well. And not battle bowl, which was perfect, I think, because I think I was quite intimidated. So it was probably the perfect way to be introduced to the Big Bash.
You were good in the outfield though, mate. That's the main thing.
Oh, I dropped a catch. I dropped a catch with one hander, and my pants nearly fell down as well. So that was great.
How was the G, mate? What's it like?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Luckily, obviously, being with Victoria, we get to train every now and then, and some of the boys get to play, obviously. So it's not too bad. It's a bit intimidating at times because it feels like a bit of a coliseum closing in on you. And then when you get a fair few blokes on the sidelines yelling a few different helpful tips, you could say. Yeah, but it's not too bad. You get used to it.
So the highs are outweighing the lows so far, mate.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure I've heard from many people say the same thing, where as your career progresses, I think you're going to get years, days, months, whatever it is that are going to go up and down. So, just enjoy it as it's coming, because it's a pretty cool experience so far.
Mate, let's talk year one at the Stars.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah, it was an interesting year. There was a lot of talk of previous years and stuff like that. And I was basically just trying to find my feet the whole way, trying to actually learn how the Big Bash is run, how different players go about it, whether it's relaxed or intense. So I think, to be honest, I probably learnt that it was a little bit more relaxed than I thought, which was actually perfect. Especially being a first-year player, you actually get to find your way and sort of express yourself, which I think is an important thing for a lot of young blokes, that they can go into those things and sort of shrivel up in a sense and go away from what they do well.
So blokes are just using it as a bit of a paid summer holiday, are they?
You can put it like that, yeah. I think there's a few blokes that don't have to do too much and they can dominate, so they can get away with the summer holiday.
Did you think you were going to play? Was that a surprise?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, when we got Bravo, we had Dwayne Bravo and Stoinis as well, two all-rounders ahead of me, I think, and Golbus, as well. So there's three blokes that were ahead of me, and I mean, without sounding a bit sheepish, I was relatively okay with that at the time. I just was pretty happy being there, being exposed to the level, and learning was the biggest thing.
On that note, mate, you got two enigmas of players as such in Dwayne Bravo and Stoinis. Bravo, I've heard he's actually a pretty quiet bloke.
Yeah, he was pretty happy doing his own thing, which is probably fair enough when you're
Caribbean cool.
Yeah, when you're going into new teams and you don't really know too many blokes. But he did his own thing, sort of at the back of the bus with his headphones on, which was pretty funny. And he always had his little words every now and then. But he was super in different training sessions and stuff. When you have a chat with him, you learn a lot of things from guys like that, especially with his mountain of experience.
Gold chains weighing him down a bit.
Oh yeah, and his watches and he's probably got about 3 different phones.
You need the tan to pull that off. I wish I could, but it's never going to happen.
Well, he's got a gold watch on. There you go. You can show that one off.
I don't think it's your DJ Bravo style, but
not quite.
It's coming.
We'll get you there, mate.
We'll
get you there.
Hopefully, that's the plan. Now, what did you think of the team? How did you guys go, in your opinion?
I think it was. I mean, you can look at it two different ways. You can look at it as a first-year player. I was looking and thinking it was a very successful year, making a final. And then you can look at it the other way, where it's we made a final, but I mean we had it in the palm of our hands in a sense. But I mean, there's always positives you can take out of it. I think when you make a Big Bash final, and especially in a Victorian sense with two Victorian teams, I think it was a pretty successful year. Especially losing different blokes like Zampa and Stoinis and Maxwell.
Throughout the season, yeah.
Yeah, which makes it difficult being able to actually
get some continuity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was good that we actually made the final, especially finishing 4th. So I think, my opinion on it is I think it was a very successful year. And
the Vicks all round, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and hopefully build from it because there's plenty to come, hopefully.
Some incoming players. Dale Steyn, he's been a brilliant player. We were just talking about this off air, but is he coming in from a marketing perspective, or is he coming in to be a feared strike bowler?
I'd assume he's coming in as a feared strike bowler. I don't
hope so.
Yeah, I don't really want to face him. if you blokes want to join in.
No, mate, I'll stand on the
Yeah, fair enough. Definitely. I remember watching him as a kid and thinking.
Me too. I think he's been around a long time.
He's an absolute phenomenal player, and I think
intimidating.
Yeah, one thing you learn as well with the nature of sports people, I think. You've got that competitive nature no matter where you are and what you're playing. I think you're naturally it's gonna come out, and I think I've seen a fair few send-offs from him that have been bloody intimidating. So
well, at least you can join in this year.
Yeah.
I've actually heard he's a ripper bloke off the field as well, from a couple of boys at other teams. So that's interesting, mate. We'll close now. Thank you for coming in. Who's your pick? Who's the player to watch in BBL 9?
I think I'd go with Will Sullivan. I think someone I've trained a
teammate.
Yeah, teammate. Played all the juniors all the way through. Grown up with him in a sense, and I've just seen the way he's come on the past couple of years with 50 over cricket at Victoria, and I think he's been phenomenal. He got a game last year for the Renegades, just playing as a batsman. When you could argue his main skill in a sense is his bowling, which just sort of shows just how damaging he can be. So I think he's definitely someone that can be quite explosive this year.
No, it's going to be an exciting competition, especially the lead-up competition or domestic competition to the next year's World Cup. It's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of fun seeing you around, mate.
Beautiful. Thanks,
mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jono.
Thanks, boys.
Well, it was great having Jono in. It's always really good to hear about how these younger players are really handling the spotlight, and the Big Bash is so it's so big these days. I mean, it really is big, and a lot of pressure gets put on these boys, but he looks like he's having a ball, and there's a lot of big dogs around that he gets to learn from, so it's great. He's definitely going to be a star of the future.
I think he's one we're going to see a lot more of this year. Obviously, we saw him a little bit last year, and he did okay. He didn't get much opportunity. I think this is going to be under Dave Hussey.
We didn't ask him about Dave Hussey for a reason. It's very hard to put him on the spot like that and ask him how his new coach is, because no doubt he wants to give him a whack, but he just can't on camera. No, Huss is, look, we know Dave Hussey well. He's a ripping bloke, and by all accounts, he's going to be a very, very good coach, and somebody I think that's going to suit Mel's style of play. So I do expect to see him a lot this year. Mate, we're going to wrap the show up, but first, I want to take you through who I'm going to be watching this week. Will Pekowski. JL, give him a chance. We're in Australia. We've got 6 tests against, I know you debate this, very average competition. Give him a shot to come in. He's going to mess up in an innings or two, but give him a shot. He's 21 years old. Give him a chance. He could be a 10, 12-year national player for us. All right, give him a chance. He's the future. I actually put him over Travis Head, and I'm a big Travis Head person, but someone's got to come out. I think Travis Head, he is out already, but he's going to remain out. I think Puck's going to come in. So that's who I'm watching this week. Mate, there's a segment we've carried over from the podcast days. Who's getting the blowtorch this week?
And this is the favourite segment. Speaking to the many followers and listeners we had, this is what they want to hear, mate.
You do, but my concern is, mate, this is a repeated whack. All
well,
right. So I believe he might have come up a couple of times last year, and I'd have to check, but get some new material. But anyway, let's roll with it.
Mate,
What's on?
Mate, the blowtorch is dedicated to people like this person who has time and time again failed. Now, I don't know how many opportunities you want or can get as a cricketer, but Mitchell Marsh finally got back into the Test team in the Ashes. How? I don't know, but he did. He had an opportunity. So what does he go and do? He comes back to Australia, playing a Shield game, makes a 50, looking pretty good. Okay, he's starting to build a case for himself. Strolls into the change rooms and decides to absolutely thump the wall, broken hand. Mitch Marsh, you would never, ever playing for Australia again. You've absolutely cooked yourself. You have no more chances. Oh, I cannot see you get another chance. How stupid can you be?
I am going to put you and Mitch in a room because this is a third time whacking. Yeah, he punched the wall. We've all done it.
He can't play cricket for 4 months.
I'm not angry,
He's
mate.
out.
I'm not
He's
angry.
out. I'm angry. Had enough.
Well, that's about it before we get kicked out. Next week, or next show, we're going to talk about the first test. It's exciting. We're going to have new Tasmanian star Nathan Ellis on the show. He's taking wickets for fun. Hopefully by then somebody's tossed him a Big Bash contract. No doubt the little fella's going to have someone to whack again. Hopefully he's got some new material. A bit of a final thought. What are you looking forward to watching this week in cricket, mate?
Mate, I'm really keen to see the Pakistani team in the T20s. I think they're going to be a lot better than what you think they are. And I think it's going to show us where we're really at the T20 side. I just don't think Sri Lanka has given us that opportunity. Might as well be playing me and you, mate.
Definitely have not.
Jeez.
For me, mate, we spoke about him before, but the fire redhead, Liam Hatcher, New South Wales,
redheads.
give him a shot. 21 wickets, 2 games. You got to blood him. Get him in there. I'm looking forward to watching him. Hopefully make his Shield debut this weekend. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks, little fella. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, big fella.
Cheers.